Okay, talking about the design sheet for your buildings. What this is going to be is you will have a block this size, and you'll see it matches up pretty well with the square that you're going to receive.
So what this is going to be, this is going to be one side of it, and then when I flip it over, this is going to be another side of it.
My name, I'm Mr. S, and then my building name, I'm going to maybe come back to that after I design it. The function of my building, it could be a museum, it could be an office, it could be a hospital, apartments, mansion, a theater, a sports stadium, a school. It can be, whatever I want. Uh, but I think I'm going to go with a hospital. So, I mean, as I'm designing my building, I want to think, are there ramps that need to go for people? Is there parking for ambulances that needs to happen? Do I want a nice place for people and families to walk around while they're waiting for stuff? So I'm gonna start with some big shapes. I mean, I think that on the front of it, I want a nice ramp going so that people can kind of get in and out. And then I think my big entrance is going to be right here. And then I'm going to start breaking up into shapes. As I'm doing this, I want to think, do I want to keep it all blocky? Do I want to keep it all straight? Or do I want to have some curves? And I think I do want to work with some curves as I'm doing this. So maybe part of that top is curvy. And I can have different planes too. So I can, stick some flat sides behind and have some kind of cool curvy elements happening as well. And that'll go down so it meets right there. Oh, I don't want this here because I want to have like a little covered place. And this is like where my little ambulances will pull up. So maybe I need my ramp to move over a little bit. So my ambulances will pull up right here. Has kind of that cool straight thing that stuff has. Then maybe on the top I want to get, like another little kind of curvy thing. That kind of looks cool. I'll go with that. And then this side, I'm kind of looking at what I have here. So if I were to have this design and take and turn it, I want to start thinking about what's going to be there. So this is kind of the first thing I made. So if I were to do that, I'm going to say that like this section is about this wide. Right? So that's going to be my ramp where people are going up. And then I have this section right here. So I can say, okay, well, there's the ramp going up, and then there's that blocky section. See, I can almost kind of line that up. And then there I have that cool curvy section. I'm not sure exactly what that's going to do. So I'll just kind of let it hang out there. I know that section is happening, so maybe I have a longer straight area where those ambulances pull up. And let's see. So I got that. Now I have that taller piece. That tall piece I think is going to come down not quite as far as my entrance. Then I'm going to have it go back. And finally, I have this last little curvy piece, and maybe that's something, and it might come from another side. So I have this kind of, I want that to go all the way to the edge. That'll be cool. So once again, these aren't set in stone. They're just to start you thinking on, here's a front side, here's a side, and how is this going to transfer onto my block once I do it. Oh, okay, the first version I showed had a hospital, and I kind of worked through the function and thinking about the function as I was adding my design. Like there's a ramp, there's a door, and my entrance, and then here's the place where the ambulances come up, and then I kind of shifted to show the side. If you're having problems figuring out the function first and what needs to be on there, what I would recommend is then let's talk about form. Let's talk about what it looks like. So these are two examples of me just playing around with the form and the ideas behind the form. So I just kind of started out with a rectangle, started out with a blobby shape. Any one of these things is going to wind up being a cutaway. And what I mean by that is when I transfer it to this design here. So I have this. If you kind of notice, they're really similar, right? Because each one of these is a place that I decided was going to get cut away. Somehow or another, it needs to get cut out of here for us to see it. You can play around with the form first and figure out what it's going to look like. Once again, I did one building up here, and I did a separate building down here. It's really tough to try and do all four sides because when you're working in a three-dimensional shape, you wind up, after you start carving, coming up with these new problems and new things that you need to work out. So I wouldn't be too worried about getting all four sides. Just try and do kind of two different buildings.